Hello, Twitch. I don't know if you can be addicted to streaming, or going live, but I think I might have gotten to that point. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I like going live. Live for me is very natural. I've been on pretty much every live stream app that there is. And that's just in the Google store, okay? So that would be close to maybe 100 of them. And yes, I got harassment. I got bullies. I got trolls. I got all sorts of things. But I handled it like a pro. I know how to deal with people like that are just like trying to get under your skin, trying to hurt you. And as I said, my reaction is I'm calm. I might be screaming inside, but I'm calm, right? So here I am, and I'm being calm, and I'm saying, that doesn't bother me. I just looked into the camera, and this person was just like, "You're ugly." And I was like, that doesn't hurt me, because I've been hurt worse than this before. Okay, you want to call me ugly? Hey, beauty's in the eyes of the beholder. Is that supposed to bug me that you don't think that I'm beautiful? Okay. People say, oh, how horrible it is. Would it be that horrible if I was ugly? Hey, my life would be so much easier if I was ugly. Seriously. Like, if I was ugly, if I woke up one day and I was ugly, gosh, people would actually have to get to know me for me, right? They wouldn't go, oh, pretty face. And then things go downhill from there, If people didn't think there was some freaking Disney princess, yeah, why, my life would be free. I would be free. I would be totally free. If when someone says you're ugly, I'm like, you know what? Okay, cool. That would be awesome. Okay. Is that the worst thing that you can say? That's like that's like going on somebody's live who's plus size and calling them fat. Like, that's not really offensive. It is if I do. If I go, it is, you know, it's in this day and age where that is just child's play within trolls. So yeah, I've been live. I've been on a lot of different live platforms. I'm not a noob when it comes to this. I'm not a noob to sexual harassment. I'm not a noob to trolls and bullies and people who want to piss me off. But the first thing I do is I laugh. I laugh because I'm like, honey, I've been through more shit than you could possibly ever imagine. And I've been hurt. Really, really hurt. But I survived. I got here for a reason, okay? I came here on Twitch for a reason. Was I clever? Was it because I was clever? No. It's because I was strong. So you're attacking a brick wall here. Now, yeah, it bothers me that people don't, when I go live and people don't like me. Yeah, obviously, that hurts. But like, that's somebody that I don't even know. I don't know the troll. I don't know that person. I don't know who they are. They're not in my circle. They're not in my social circle. They're not in the groups that I'm a part of. They don't have any influence in my life. They're not in my life, so they don't really know anything about me. So it's funny. It's like, wow, you've got a whole fictional story about me. How's that going? How's your fictional story going? And I laugh. But then that soon turns to my soul just crying because I just think to myself, how miserable that person has to be to hurt someone that like me, because I think I represent something perhaps that offends their very soul. And if you're offended by good people, by someone that isn't even hurting you or doing anything, you got a problem. Because I'm a good person. I'm just surviving. I'm not any better than anybody else. I'm just doing what I'm doing because I enjoy it. And because I am doing what everybody thought I couldn't do. You know, people are going on. I think people just didn't know. They just didn't know. They just thought, oh, she has autism, or, she couldn't possibly do something like this. And heck, I'm doing it. Okay, let me explain. Autism does not mean I am a deficit. It doesn't mean that I am a distraction. It does not mean I am a burden. It means that I just think a little bit differently and I think outside the box. And it's because of people like me that created your technology, that made Bluetooth and microphones and computers possible. Our brain is a supercomputer. So somebody had to think, hey, gee, I have a brain. Let's make something that's very similar. Do you think neurotypical people are figuring that out? No, there's no way that Bill Gates was neurotypical. Okay, there's no way that he was a normie, And the whole normal thing is just like, why can't you be normal? Is just like, why can't you be what I want you to be? Why can't you be what I envision you? Like, okay, that's literally just saying you're not good enough. There's no normal. It does not exist. If there's somebody that you think that is normal, they are not. They're hiding it. Okay? I don't know what you think is normal. Do you think normal is like Bert? Like Bert and Ernie? Is that a normal situation? Is it like that Bert from Sesame Street, that collects paper clips? I don't think he's very normal. No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Normal is a state of mind. It's what works for you. Doesn't work for you. It might not work for someone else. It's going to work for me because it's my life. And so somehow there are these people that just think that they are better than everybody else. And they're like, well, this is my normal, so why isn't it yours? Well, guess what? I'm not a completely different person than you. I don't know how you live your life. I don't know you. If it works for you, amen. Fantastic. I love it. I love it, the fact that you've chosen your life and it's working for you and it's normal. And it is, the important part is, are you happy? Are you happy? Are you happy with the choices you've made? Because if you are, you're successful. And I've come to this realization that I always thought that I was just waiting around for something to happen and just waiting for my opportunity to step out the door, waiting for that moment I'll arrive at Disneyland, waiting for that moment where I'm going to be hobnobbing with celebrities, waiting for that moment to be seen, to be heard. I don't need celebrities. I just want to be seen and I want to be heard. I want to be treated like a decent human being. And I strive to do that every single day. It is a part of my being. It is something that I don't just talk about. I do it. I do it. You know how people preach? They don't, live how they preach. Hey, I might say something on here and do something completely different because that's human nature. We contradict ourselves, but we can correct ourselves. We can look at what we're doing and say, yeah, this doesn't work, does it? It doesn't work. It doesn't work, And we try to fit other people's lifestyles into our own, and we try to figure out, okay, well, it's not okay to be this, People say it's not okay to be gay, or it's not okay to be trans. It's not okay to be, so we suppress ourselves. We make ourselves less. We make ourselves so small that when we look at these people like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye and PewDiePie, and we look at these big influencers out there, the gamers, the YouTubers, there's all those things, you feel like an utter failure. But then I realize, how many people did I help? I helped people. I was there for people. I gave understanding and love to people. I was rich in friendship and love and laughter. And if all I'm going to do is get one person that follows me, or it's just one person that is my friend, I am here to be a friend. I am here to be accessible. I'm not prostituting myself. This isn't what this is about. This is about me being an accessible, genuine human being and making other people feel that way. Okay? Of course. Do I want to collaborate with Markiplier? Do I want to collaborate with these YouTubers? Yes. Am I intimidated by them? A little. Do I think they're better than I am? Maybe. But I also consider them my equals. And I want to say, if you are a famous YouTuber or a famous gamer, you're a human being. You make mistakes, you mess up. You're just like I am. The only difference, you have more followers. You have more money. You have more things that you have to worry about during the day. You have people you have to hire, people you have to talk to, people you have to talk down. You have lives you have to attend, meetings you have to go to. But the truth is, I just see a human being. I don't see... I never had idols. I had heroes. And you know what my heroes are? My heroes are people who choose to be vulnerable, who choose to be genuine and honest and not bullshit people. They're not fake. They are here and they say, hey, I've got body dysmorphia, like Jax, singing about how she felt horrible about her body, or Sam Smith that's saying how he is starting to love himself more when he looks in the mirror, or raw people like Sia that tell you how she was struggling with alcohol and how she was only holding on for that night. People who talk about their struggles, and you're not... I think fame has made a lot of people inaccessible and untouchable, but you're not untouchable. We all crave to be connected, to have love, validation, and acceptance. We all crave that. And no, I'm not a therapist, but I am a friend. I am somebody that can be trusted. I am someone who might hide a few things here and there, but come on. I remember there's a woman, nasty, nasty woman. I sent her a picture. This is the last time I ever sent a picture of to someone. Last time. And she's like, bitch, I'm gonna show your face all over the internet. I'd be like, I really wish you would. But the thing is, I'm already all over the internet. Yeah, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. Do I use all of those things? No. I hate Twitter. Well, I don't hate it. I just don't, I'm not into it. Okay? It's not like I hate Twitter. It's more of just like, I don't have time for that drama. I've lived with drama my whole entire life, and I don't want to have to deal with that. Thank you very much. Because I just don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that kind of drama of where he said, she said. It's like a bad Reddit. Reddit is the same. It's just like, you bitch, no, you're a bitch. You know what you're talking about. And then it just gets worse and worse from there and worse and worse from there. And then everybody has no idea what anybody is talking about. It's like that scene in Anchorman where Steve Carell is like, I don't know why we're yelling. You know? It's like everybody is so absorbed in everybody else's energy that they don't even realize what they're upset about. They don't realize what they're offended about. And they just go around through life like we are all that way. We are just floating through space. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what's coming next. Heck, we don't even know what we did yesterday. Do you think that we really know what we're doing right now? No, I don't think so. We just take it stride to stride, which is why I don't plan my lives. Do you think I script my lives? You know how awkward it is to script your lives. Oh yes, let's pull the phone out. Let's pull the phone out. Let's write it down. Let's put it right in front of here. Oh yeah, really good place for it. You can't see some of the screen. Oh well, but you don't have to see that part of the screen, right? Nah, you don't. You do. You do need to see that part of the screen. So you're just hoping that it doesn't just, fall onto the keyboard and then end the live or hit a hotkey, which it has happened. Yeah, put my phone here because I was doing a live on, and it started. I wasn't even going live on Twitter. I was going live on Facebook. So for 18 minutes, I was going live on Twitch, on both Twitch and Facebook. So now you know how. You just need a computer and a phone. Do I recommend doing that? No. That was an accident. That's what I mean. I don't know what I'm doing. And then another thing. Oh, you can get a notebook. You could get a freaking notebook. Oh, yeah, let's get a notebook. Let's get a notebook. Where are you going to put that? That looks really tacky if you're sitting there with a notebook. Does this look tacky? Okay, yeah, let's look. Oh shit, I missed my line. And then you try to put it here. Oh no. Where am I gonna put this? I can put it here. No. Yeah, it's a problem. And these pages don't behave themselves. They're floppy paper. So it's not going to do what I want it to. And then I could put it over here, but then I wouldn't be looking at the audience and I'd be looking at this and keep looking at this. And it would be so obvious that I wrote it down. It would be so obvious. It's so obvious, okay? I don't have a teleprompter. I am not Anderson Cooper. Nobody's Anderson Cooper because he's amazing. But I'm not a newscaster. I don't just go like this and there was this story that happened, and I'm not doing that. So I choose not to be scripted because it restricts the creativity. It restricts the creativity. I don't like that. I don't need writers. I am a writer. I have a fan fiction account, okay? I was on Wattpad. Long time ago. Long time ago. And I was on I was on several writing communities. I've used a lot of texting apps. I've used if there's anybody that's tried to be social, it's me. It's me. I've tried to be social. I've tried to reach out to people as best as I can. And I seem to be more effective on Facebook, which is weird because Facebook is supposed to be impersonal. But I'm very blessed to have my tribe. I have a tribe on Facebook and it's very nice. And I'm willing to make more friends. Why not? Let's make more friends. I can do that. But yeah, if you're wondering why I don't script things, first of all, this is a live. Secondly, I know you're thinking, well, don't radio show talk hosts, plan their live? Yeah, they do. They plan what they're going to say beforehand. But I'm not a radio show host. I'm not scripting this. I'm not putting up some summary that says, you should say this. And if you use writers, that's great. That's fantastic. But it's really personal when you actually create your content yourself. And it's understandable. You know, you could have a relative or a family member. I know that there are YouTubers that use their family members constantly to do their writing. And that's amazing because they get a paycheck. They get a paycheck at the end of the day. You know, they get to be part of the deal, you know. So that's great, especially when it comes to YouTube. When it comes to YouTube, it's amazing. So yeah. So yes, I don't think I need that, do I? And this is part of my life. This is just like, click. What does this button do? I didn't mean to do that. And then, you know, I didn't mean to do that. So, yeah, and it's freaking discouraging. I got very discouraged the other day because everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And, like, I'm plugging my microphone and like, trying to adjust my microphone while I'm live. I have fixed that problem. I fixed it. You just mute it. Just mute it. Kind of go. Just mute it. And then while it's going on, you'll just be like. Just kind of pretend that you're jamming out to the music, okay? So if you have music in the game, you can just go. You know, somebody just came in through the door. You just go boop, and then you mute it, and then you're just like, okay. Yeah, just do that. Just be awkward. People love awkward. Just as long as that's something that you do on a normal basis, okay? But yeah, it's kind of awkward. Is it awkward? Yeah, sorry. But it's like, I just feel that I have been successful, and I'm not being egotistical. I'm not like, I'm successful. I'm not doing that. No. I'm saying that I have been successful with humanity before I came here. I already feel like a kind of a celebrity already because, like, I feel that just people know me. My phone is just blowing up. It was for a little bit. For a little bit there, it was kind of blown up. It was blowing up. There was just like everybody was wanting to text me. They're like, music video, and then somebody's like, hey, you want to come over? And then there's another person like, kisses, you know, and I was just like, thank you. Thank you. I have people sending me videos. I do. I have people sending me videos, and I find it very flattering and very precious to me because, not precious, but I find it, I appreciate it. I appreciate when people send me anything, a text, when they send me a photo or a video or something, or just anything they share with me. It could just be a blurb here or there or a meme, because you took your time out of your day to send me that. You looked. I guarantee you looked for this. Okay, you went on Facebook, you went on YouTube, you went on who knows what, and you found it and you said, hey, I got such the thing for you. Hey, I heard you're into Johnny Depp. Like, here's a clip. Or hey, there's this live that is going on right now. I'm going to share it. Or hey, I just made this video and I want to share it with you. And I'm like, wow. It doesn't mean I watch it, but I see it and I am very appreciative. And it's not because I don't want to watch it. It's because, like, okay, I am stuck on this one thing. I gotta do this one thing. I need to do this. And I don't know if I can do the other thing. And, like, I don't multitask very well. So, yeah, if I don't respond, I will eventually. I usually do. I usually do. But then ADHD happened. Yes. Adult. Yeah. Um, yeah. ADHD happened. And yeah, it's one of those things. And have you realized that this is the thing about our society is crazy. It's crazy. Like I remember when I was 15 and people were like they have rehab for texting and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this must be really like I didn't have a phone at the time." So I was like, "Wow, it's getting serious. It's getting serious here." And so rehab for texting. I guess that's just rehab for rich kids or something. I don't know. I think I something like that. You kind of have to be rich to go through certain rehabs because some of them are private. So yeah, and I just thought, and then I get into it. I get a phone like years, like 15 years later. I get my own phone, and yeah, it's kind of addicting. It's addicting. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun to chat to text, but it's also what it sounds to me is like people are concerned about someone texting, but they're not concerned of the fact that they watched 4 hours of YouTube. It's like 4 hours of Peppa Pig, that's fine, but don't get addicted to texting. Oh my goodness, that's horrible. Okay, if you're gonna do something, texting is probably the best. Like, that's not the worst thing you could be doing with your time, okay? There are a lot of things that are a waste of time, and I can tell you texting is not on the top of my list of the things that I need to stop doing. First of all, it's a form of communication. Secondly, it could be an emergency, okay? Yeah. And texting is great because it's like one of those things when you're in front of someone and you're right there, you can't just say, "Hey, I don't want to talk to you right now." You can't just leave because that's rude. But with texting, you can just like wait. You can just be like, and have minimal responses to whatever anybody is saying. It's just like it's a communication for lazy people essentially. You just leave. They'll be just like, "Hey, there's this crazy video. Really want you to check it out." And I look at it and I'm like, "I don't think I'm going to watch that." Nah, it's not because it's bad. It's not like it's horrible. It's not linked to OnlyFans or anything. It's just like, um, it's just like I don't think I would have enough focus to watch something like that. And it's nothing that isn't interesting. It's just like I'm not gonna watch that. So I'll be like, wow, thanks. Yeah, that's just what I wanted to watch was 3 hours of someone doing their makeup. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I have a woman that texts me every day. She sends me videos, sends me all sorts of things. I have people that send me like things, and that's what I mean. I feel like I'm already famous because I have people that you know they might not talk to me at all, like at all, and then all of a sudden I talk to them, or they talk to me, and they're like, "Hi, I'm your friend, and I got your back." So I'm just rich in friendship. I am rich in love and laughter, and that sounds so completely generic and just cheesy, but it is. I feel I am already successful. I feel that I am at this mountain, and I am looking out, and I'm like, these are all the things that I did. I did all of these things. I went on all of these hills and mountains. I climbed all of these mountains. I almost didn't survive, but I did. And I'm like, because I just thought to myself, I used to measure myself because I didn't go places. I didn't do things. I've never been to Disneyland. I never did this. And I just would measure that. I would be like, I never go anywhere because I'm a loser. And I realized that wasn't my fault. But still, you have that feeling of you second guess yourself. You were like, if I was a better person, I would probably be doing this. No. Where you go does not define how successful you are. How many YouTubers don't go anywhere? Oh my gosh, have you seen some of the gamers out there? Some of them look like they're living in a van down by the river. Some of them look like they came out of a cave. Some of them look like they are running a some of them look like they're living in a tent somewhere. But I'm gonna say a person that's living by the river, the person that's living in a tent, a person that is living in a van down by the river is actually really successful, because you know what? Some people, they know what they want. They know what they want. And they don't want to have to deal with humanity. They don't want to have to, because humanity hurts them. And a lot of these people that are homeless don't have, they don't have a place to call, they don't have a tribe. They don't feel seen, they don't feel heard, and they're not helped because it's the mental illness. It's the what makes them different. And it's really sad that they have to come to that point where they're living in a tent somewhere. But I can tell you that they are successful individuals. They are important people. Because you just don't know. You don't know what. There was a story that I heard, I think it was somewhere in California, in Crescent City. And this guy he was loaded. He had millions of dollars. He literally didn't have to work ever again. But you know what he did? He got a beanie hat on, got some old clothes, and just wandered the streets. Just wandered the streets because he didn't want all of that. He didn't want all those riches. He didn't want that fancy car. He didn't want any of that. That stuff is nice, but when you're not getting a human connection, when no one's reaching out to you and no one's being your friend, they're only being your friend because they're being paid to, or it's just, it's a business thing. Yeah, you pay me, I'm your chauffeur, you pay me, I'm your butler, how that is, it's so inconvenient. The inconvenience of not having a personal relationship with your butler. But yeah, you don't have that connection, and so you go searching for something that is beyond all that wealth. And most people, if you're narrow-minded, you might just say, well, that's just stupid. He has money and he should. No, he's not stupid. Well, he's crazy. Crazy? Okay, maybe he wants to feel what it felt like before he got rich, okay? Because back then, he wasn't treated like he was important. He was just treated like he was a human being. People just said, oh, hi, how you doing? It's just, and that's the thing. I'm one of those people that, hey, you're going to come in and you're going to say, hey, I'm a celebrity. I'll be like, cool. But we just are so intimidated by celebrities nowadays. It's just like, we just want to give up because we're thinking, oh, we'll never be like them. But that man who decided to be homeless, even though he had a freaking mansion to go back to, he wasn't crazy. He was actually sane. Because he realized there was something more than wealth. He realized that there was something more precious to the soul, the human soul, than material possessions. Money comes and goes. It's got lots of friends crowding around their door. But when you run out of it, money has wings, okay? Money has wings. You spend it, it's gone. It's gone. And our biggest dream is endless supply of money. Is that really what it is? How about an endless supply of love, an endless supply of human connection where people can just look at you and not see your money and not see your fame, but see you as a human being with a mind and a heart and a soul. That is what people are. That's what Markiplier is. That is what Jacksepticeye is. That is what they are. They're human beings. You guys, we idolize them. We think that they are more than what they appear to be. But you know what? They cry. They laugh. They smile. They have down days. They have depression. They have nights where they don't sleep. And I see so many people looking for something, and they don't know what it is. They're wandering the streets. They're trying to find who they are. They're trying to find out what the world is all about and the meaning of life. That's all that is. That guy, that rich dude going out in the open pretending he was homeless. So you don't know. You see somebody and you see him with a beanie hat, a cart, and with some recycling it, and you think, oh gosh, that person is obviously like nobody. They're not nobodies, okay? There's no nobodies. We're all a somebody, and we all mean something to someone. We all have mothers and fathers and people that cared about us at one point in our life. And we meant something to someone. And maybe you might not feel that you mean anything to anybody, but you're going to mean something to someone someday. You're going to mean something. Because, yeah, their family and friends, those are the things that are important. The people you connect with, the human connections. That's what's important. It's not riches. It's not popularity. It's not getting followers. It's something more than that. And honestly, being here on Twitch, yeah, it's a thing where, like, of course I want to meet, these gaming heroes out there. Of course I want to see them. I want to collaborate with them. I want to talk to them. I want them blowing up my phone. I want them doing all those things. I do. Okay? I got big dreams. But I've always been that way. And I am creative. And the reason I don't think I'll ever have writers in the future is because everything that I have ever come up with, I have come up on the spot. I have come up with the spot. I am not running SNL here. I am a writer. I got a brain. And because of my ADHD, I am creative. And since I have autism, I'm a double threat here. I am super creative now. Most people are like, ADHD and autism, it's a curse. Yeah, it is when people treat you like shit because of it. Yeah. But don't let people, the way that people treat you, define how you feel about who you are. You know, don't, just because someone treats you like shit because you are a certain way, don't turn to it and say, well, my autism, I understand. Your life would probably be easier. Your life would probably be easier if you didn't have bipolar. I don't have it. Your life would probably be easier if you didn't have mental illness. Your life would probably be easier if you didn't have bills to pay. Your life would probably be easier if you were richer and you had a butler and a nice car and you didn't have to lift a finger. Life would probably be easier. If you didn't have to deal with ADHD, life would probably be easier. If you didn't have to take medications to feel okay, life would probably be easier if people would just take time to listen to you and hear you and have understanding about what's going on with you. So this is a people thing. This isn't a you thing. It's not about you. You think it's not a you thing. No. This is about people who've got their tuchus on top of their head. Okay, they've got their face embedded into their tuchus. Okay, way far up there where the sun don't shine. And it's no wonder that they can't see. When you're wearing your ass as a hat or a sun visor, you cannot see what's going on with people. And sometimes it's not an ass thing. It's just it's I can't handle it thing. I can't handle this. I can't deal with this. It's too stressful. There's too much trauma. I'm getting therapy for this. It's one of those things, but it's a them thing. It's a them thing. It's them. They know they have that within this day and age. I don't understand people. I just don't understand. Within a day and age where information is really accessible. I mean, oh, but I don't have a computer. Library? There's a place. It's called a library. It's really cool. I've actually been to a library. I've been to several. And it used to be my favorite place, but I evolved from this manual downloading of information, and they have these things called books. Yes, a book. You open it and you look at the page and you manually download the information with your eyes, and they go left to right and left to right. Yes. And it sometimes takes a bit. And it also is very nice. It's soft. This is a paperback, softback as you would call it. And you get these books, and you can also use a computer. Yes, you can use a computer there. Yay! Books are useless. They are to me now. Yes. I much prefer audio. I much prefer audiobooks because then I can actually hear the author reading it. I have a hard time focusing on an actual book. So, video games are better. Yes, absolutely. Movies and video games. I don't understand people who are like, the movies were so much better. I'm like, can you stop being such a purist, okay? The movies, the books were so much better. Like, I'm sorry. Yes, it was fun reading Harry Potter, but come on. Nothing beats the badassness of Severus Snape. I mean, when he enters a room, he's like, turn to page 264. It's cool. It's cool. You don't get that when you get a book. You have to use your imagination, and I would like to use my imagination, but I use that anyway. Yes, video games are better. Movies and video games are better because you can see it, and some of us are visual learners, and this right here doesn't have any pictures. It doesn't have any pictures. You have to make up the pictures yourself, and I don't think I want that. I'm really glad that I have it, but there was actually a series made from this too. I watched it as a kid. It was called Redwall, and I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I loved it. Books are an acquired taste, I would say. I much prefer the yeah, but I'm a visual learner, and I would, you know, why read the book when you can watch the movie? You know, there's certain things like I watched It, Stephen King's It. Yeah, I watched Stephen King's It, loved it, adored it. But then I tried to read the book. Do you want to know how long that is? It is 956 pages long. This big. And it's literally I I felt like I had read a novel after reading 10 pages of it. It was exhausting. I was like, I don't think I can do this. I tried to do the audiobook too, which was read by Steven Weber, and I'm a big fan of him. He's in that show called there's a show that he was in. I think it was called Planes or something. It was a sitcom in the 80s, and it was really funny, and it had Thomas Hayden Church, and it was a great show. It was a great show, and I loved it. I loved the show. It was fantastic. But and he's also been in Dracula Dead and Loving It. He's been in The Perfection. He's been in a lot of movies. He's more of a horror thing. He plays villain nowadays. But he read Stephen King's It. And it was fantastic. He was a really good. He got the Pennywise voice down. It was fantastic. I loved it, but I couldn't get it through with that either. It's not that I don't like Stephen King. I respect the man, but I just couldn't read it. I couldn't. It's not anything personal about him. He is a great author, but I just can't. I can't read that. Hi. Hello. I'm so glad that you're here. Yes. I was just explaining about books and movies, and yeah, as you can see the text up above. Well, maybe it's below me. I don't know. Is it? I don't know. It's below me, I'm sure. But he was saying books are useless. What is my favorite movie? There's so many. There's so many. There's so many movies that I love. First of all, I love Wishmaster. I love Hellraiser. But there's a lot of other movies that I enjoy, and I enjoy a variety of things. I love old movies. I love some of the newer movies too. I just watched Nope, and it was fantastic. Oh, that's so cute. I love that. The little emoji. I'm so glad I enabled the emojis. I'm so glad. It's so cute. Look, the little. It's like this little. It is called the Bible thump. That's hilarious. But yes, I love a little bit of everything, but I love Disney movies. Love Disney movies. I am really looking forward to the new um, Little Mermaid. I just really want to see that. I'm just a big kid when it comes to that, and I can't. I just keep waiting for it on Disney Plus, but it won't. It's not come out yet, so I'm really looking forward to that. But I'd have to say Little Mermaid is one of my favorite movies, one of many. I love The Little Mermaid. So that is a really long answer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's a really long answer for that. But yes, I really would love to see Melissa McCarthy play Ursula. And I really appreciate that they brought her to do that role because I do believe she's a queen of comedy and gorgeous, and I love her movies. But I followed her before, Thunder Force and Tammy and The Heat. I followed her before that. I followed her way before that. She was on the Gilmore Girls, and she was Suki, and that was Lorelai's favorite, like her best friend, and she was a chef and she ran a restaurant, and she was just so perky. She was like this. She had this little dimple, and she was just she was adorable. And then all of a sudden, she became this big star, Melissa McCarthy, in Bridesmaids, and just yeah. And she's gonna be playing Ursula, and I have to say she looks amazing in the makeup, and it is so. But I would also like to see a man play Ursula. That would be so fantastic because I bet you didn't know this, but Ursula's actually based on Divine, and Divine was he was a cross dresser, or he was a drag queen. He was a big guy, had a scratchy voice, like a very unpleasantly scratchy voice, and he's one of those people that you would think, okay, that's the last person I want to see in drag, right? But there was just something very magical about him. There was something magical about his masculinity and he was in the first version of Hairspray with Ricky Lake. So, and he came out with music albums and stuff, and he was in some John Waters movies, The Red Flamingos. He was, yeah, the Pink Flamingos. There's no red flamingos, the Pink Flamingos. Excuse me. Sorry. That was my bad. But yes, and that's what Ursula is based on. Ursula is based on a drag queen. So, and there's just something very masculine about Ursula. I mean, her voice is very low. She's played by the late Pat Carroll. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, please. She was 96, I believe. She lived a wonderful life. I adored her. She was like this little tiny 5'1" woman, and she was just a walking SNL skit. I'm telling you, she was a one woman show, and she was, yeah, she was amazing. But there's just something very masculine about Ursula, and very ultra feminine. It's like she's very overdramatic. She's almost like a Greta Garbo kind of thing. I think she's a Marlena Diedrich. I think that that's what she is. She's like a Marlena Diedrich. She's very dynamic, big hips. She's very sexy. She obviously, she it's almost like she knows, you know, it's hard to explain. So I really think that both a man and a woman can play her. I believe that somebody trans could very well play her. That would be amazing. I think anybody can. I don't think there should be, someone's gender identity or sexuality shouldn't keep people from playing something. I mean, yes, people are going to be upset, but come on. It's a new world today. We got new people in the world. We have variety. So, and I'm really appreciating that Disney is embracing more of the variety. We have Encanto, and we have, we had Coco, and we had a bit more, we're having more variety. But I think they're still kind of struggling with with having variety, meaning like different genders, different, switching up the genders a bit, maybe getting somebody that, some character. This is a gender bender. This is actually big in the cosplay community, and is where you get a character that's originally male, and then you make it to where it is a female role, and it's nothing weird. It sounds weird, but it's not. I mean, it's just imagine a female Gaston. I saw one where the Gaston was African American. I was like, yes, I love that. That's fantastic. And it's creative. It's so creative. And so I think anybody, if they want to play something and they're like, "Oh, you can't do that because you're not you're not this gender, you're not." No, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Okay? If there is a guy if there is a guy with double chins and uh if there's a guy that looks like Peter Griffin and he decides to put on a Sailor Moon outfit and that makes him feel beautiful, then he can do that. How is it affecting my life? If you want to wear a dress, go for it. It makes you feel beautiful and it makes you feel happy, then you should do it. It's no, it's not affecting me. It's not insulting me. I'm not going to sit there and make fun of you. I mean, I might compliment your dress. I'm not going to sit there and say, "Honey, that's not really your style." I'm just going to say, "Oh, that is a really nice dress. I like it." I did. There was a guy and he was autistic and he says, "I like to wear dresses." And I was like, "Oh, really? Really? I'd like to see." Well, you're going to make fun of me? And I was like, "No." And I run this group. Well, I don't run it. I help. I'm not the big boss. I help manage it. And I said, "Nobody is going to make fun of you. As long as it makes you feel happy." And he's like, "Okay, well, I'll send it." And, did he look amazing in the dress? No. But it was a nice dress. And I'm a nice person and I'm not going to sit there and say that makes you look. I'm not going to tell them how that makes them look, okay? If they want to dress like that, then they can. And I am a big supporter of I'm a big supporter of people who want to live their truth and want to live the way that they want to, regardless of how people think of them. And if that means that you need to live with your partner, if that means that you need to live with lots of makeup on and high heels and you have to be on RuPaul's Drag Race, then that's what you have to do. And you need to live life the way that you want to and not the way that society thinks that you should. There is no society. Society is non-existent. Society is just something that adults tell you, or people that think they know everything tell you because they want you to feel bad. They want you to feel bad because they don't understand it. They don't understand why you are the way that you are. You are the way you are for a reason, and they are trying to freaking change it because, and let me tell you, a life of suppression is not living. It is not living. If you are living in your life suppressed about who you are and you can't express who you are, that is existing. That is floating through space. You are that you lose. You're losing a part of yourself. You're losing a part of yourself. Just imagine for a moment that you couldn't use one of your hands, okay? Somebody told you can't use your right hand, okay? You can't use your right hand. They're not telling you why. They're just saying you can't use your right hand. Okay. How am I supposed to function like this? See, why can't I use my right hand? Why do I have to use this hand? Why do I have to do? Well, that's what I think. It makes me happy, and I think that's just weird that you use your right hand. Can you imagine? People just want you to do things because they think it's weird. Is that a good reason to do something? I just think that's weird, so I think you should. No, no, no. That we're not dumbing ourselves down. We're not just like not we're not just gonna stop being who we are just because somebody thinks that it's weird. They thought it. They said it. That's their opinion. That's what they think. That's their truth. It's not yours. And I know parents think that they're awfully important because they're like, well, that's just weird and that's not normal. Well, it's not normal for you, but it's normal for me. And so I just believe that I think we should all be able to do that. And that's why I think that a man should be playing Ursula to some extent. I think that there should be a man that plays him. I mean, it was based on a man. I mean, come on. Like, let's not be petty. Let's stop doing this. Like, and then I saw Queen Latifah play her, and she was quite good. I didn't. It was good, but uh, yeah, I've seen two men sing Poor Unfortunate Souls, and they're fantastic. I saw Titus Burgess. I saw this other guy. Don't remember his name. And I saw them do it, and I thought it was fantastic. And I thought, we really need to do this. Like, but unfortunately, Disney and Broadway, a lot of things, they are still very biased. They're still very biased. I mean, our movie industry and the theater would not be standing if it were not for the LGBTQ plus community. LGBTQT plus community. It wouldn't be here. Our music and our fashion, our makeup, and everything that we do has to do with it was invented by somebody who was part of the LGBTQT plus community. So, but it's sometimes hard for people to accept. It's hard to accept people that are different and to incorporate that. And if you notice on Disney, they actually had their first they have a musical. It's kind of cringy. And it's about a young boy who is gay, and he wants his idol, I guess, is his idol is Diana Ross, and he thinks that she's amazing and he wants to be a queen, and I thought that was very touching. However, the movie itself is very cringy. It's cringy. It has a wonderful feel of live theater. I love that. But it's a lot of heavy breathing. It's like you can hear it too. They have microphones. It's a microphone, so it's completely live. I do believe it's one of the Disney studios. It's not like a Broadway studio, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, the singing it's called Travis the Musical. Yeah, and it's just like, and you can hear it. You can hear like the crackly voice, and you can hear that, and it's like and the boy does really well. I mean, you can tell that he's out of breath. You can tell that, but he knows what he's doing. But it's a little off key. A little bit off key, and it's I think it's a type of singing. There's a type of singing, and it's no reflection on how well he sings or how he sings really well, okay? But he does that thing where he's like, And I'm like, ah, no, please, no. And I don't want to hear that. That is, I know he's a kid. But uh, you can't act. Okay, when you're singing, there's like, it's called, this is the headspace. So anything from here to here. So, but they, you can get it to the point where it is like more in this area than it is down here. you know, like it's kind of way up there. And it's a type of singing. A lot of people do it. Britney Spears does it. She does it fantastically. I love that kind, but I don't like the Broadway version of that. I don't like the Broadway version. Will I lose my dignity? I'm like, what are you, freaking SpongeBob? It's like, what? Why are you singing like this? Um, Anyway, that's Travis the Musical on Disney Plus. If you want to look it up, it's on there. It's really on there. I don't recommend it because it is a lot of things run together. It's a lot of talking singing, which is like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do this. I am just really scared, and it's all this stuff that I have to do, and I'm like, nah, nah. And I there's no reflection on how, I'm sure they're all fantastic performers. I'm sure. But there were a lot of people. There was this one actress that I adore. Her name is Jane. Uh, um, yeah. So the girl in Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, she's a redhead. She was also in Evil Dead the remake, and she was also in a very very obscure movie called Bang Bang Baby. Now this is very weird. It's a very strange musical. Peter Stormare is the father. She lives in a community. Her dream is to sing and be heard, and so she sends in her, she goes to the studio and she sings a song, and they call her back up and they say, hey, we want to give you a record deal. And so of course she goes, but then just as she's about to go, her father takes the letter which would prove that she was chosen for that deal, and he throws it into the fire. Meanwhile, this is a freaking musical. And she has this like kind of nonchalant kind of singing throughout the whole thing. And at first I didn't think that she knew how to sing, but as it turns out she does. She knows how to sing, and she does jazzy very well. She's more of a jazzy kind of singer, and I like that. But I think her character was somebody who had given up on life, and that's why they wanted her to sing that way. So sometimes people sing in a certain way, not because that is as good as they are, but is because they need to sing that way, because that's what the character calls for. For instance, if you're playing you're playing a character. When you're singing and you're in a play, you can't all of a sudden just, uh, you know, it would be ridiculous. I mean, it just would be weird. Like, for instance, SpongeBob, okay? We got SpongeBob. Okay, SpongeBob is gonna freaking sing like SpongeBob, okay? He's gonna sing. There's gonna be a nasally twang, There's gonna be a nasally kind of thing going, but you, unless you're being funny, you're not gonna all of a sudden all of a sudden do opera. You're not gonna freaking do opera all of a sudden, because it's not part of the character. SpongeBob does not sing opera. He's a fry cook. Squidward might sing opera, but he mostly plays the clarinet. So unless that's a gag or something, so you have to sing in character, which means you have to sing off key. And people are just so surprised when they're like, oh my gosh, my favorite voice actor can sing. Of course they can. They're using their voice all the time. Why wouldn't they? But then again, sometimes there are voice actors that don't know how to sing. I mean, singing is a gift. So some actors don't know how to sing. For instance, one of the I believe Tara Reid, who does the voice for Twilight Sparkle in My Little Pony. She does numerous voices. And I mean, numerous voices. We're talking. Tara Strong does a lot of voices. Tara Strong does a lot of voices. A lot of them. A lot of them. And so, and mind you, she's this little tiny thing, too. She's so tiny. She's like a tiny, she's fun size, you know? And so she actually doesn't really, I'm sure she knows how to sing, but I'm not sure. Never mind. Cross that out. No, it's quite possible that she does know how to sing, but sometimes people have gifts. They have gifts, and sometimes they'll be like, okay, well, we want Twilight Sparkle to sing, and you know, the actor will come in and start singing, and they'll be like, that was really nice, but can we do it more this way? Because everybody excels in a certain style of music. For instance, like I probably would do better with some jazz or some. I probably would do better with rock and roll. You know, I like to holler. You know, I like to be loud. So, but the thing is, the theme song. I was so surprised. Like I heard the theme song from My Little Pony, and I was like, that sounds so much like Tara Strong. Like this sounds so much like her. Like, it just sounds like her. And I looked it up and it wasn't her. It wasn't Tara Strong. It was somebody else. And I was so surprised. And this is the crazy part. There are people out there that can literally sound like somebody else. They get them. Now, they get them. Now that's it. It's easier to get somebody that actually knows how to sing and knows how to do that because it's just easier. That way you don't have to pay two people to do the singing and the voice acting. It's less complicated, but sometimes people just don't have the right voice for that. Like, for instance, Meg Ryan and Anastasia. Meg Ryan has a great voice, but I don't think she knows how to sing like that. She doesn't she doesn't know how to sing like a Disney princess, okay? Um I don't even know if Meg Ryan can sing. I'm sure she does in the shower somewhere. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe that's not one of her gifts. Maybe, but we all have our gifts, and sometimes that's not one of them. And sometimes these producers, they look for a certain thing when it comes to singing. They're like, that was good, but I'm looking for something like this. And you'd be like, no, 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 no. So, yeah, people get so surprised when they find out that their favorite voice actors can sing. I bet you didn't know this, but Tom Kenny, who plays SpongeBob, who's been playing SpongeBob for over 20 years, actually has a band. Tom Kenny and the High Seas. Yeah. Not only that, but he is married to frickin' Karen. Yeah, he's married to Jill Talley, who does Plankton's Karen. It's the robot. Plankton has a robot wife. Her name is Karen. And he has been married to that woman for over 30 years. And they are still happily married. And he adores her. And the way it works with voice acting is the first three voices that you do, the first three voices, you get paid minimum wage. By the fourth voice, they have to pay you overtime, which means above minimum wage. And I do believe, and this is told by Tom Kenny, I'm not making this up. Tom Kenny actually said this on YouTube. He said it in an interview. So I assume he knows what he's talking about because he was the director, the voice director. He had been around, and, you know, after Steven Hillenburg, the creator of SpongeBob, left, because, you know, he probably had other things he had to do, you know, because he was like, okay, you guys, you got it. You got it, you know, you're fine. So he just let them, you know, left them to their own devices and carried on with his life. And, yeah, that's what he did. And they called him up later and said, we'd like you to be the director because you've been here the longest and you seem to know how everything works. And that was a bit awkward because he was friends with Bill Fagerbakke and Clancy Brown and Mr. Lawrence and Roger Bumpus and all of those. And he was friends with all of them. And so he kind of made a joke. He was like, Bill, let me tell you about Patrick. Because he plays Patrick. And, yeah, I just think it's really wonderful to put a face to these actors because these actors mean the world. They are really heroes. They're humble human beings, and we really need to give them more credit because they made our childhood what they are today. And yes, and I found them to be very humble individuals. Some of them are full of energy, full of life, and I enjoy hearing from them. I enjoy listening to them. And I did this one time. I actually argued. Like, I argued about, I don't know why I argued, but there was something that I used to play before bed. It was called what was it called? It was called The Dressing Song. Now, I just about swooned. I'm telling you. I just about swooned. I just went, oh my gosh, yeah. I just did. And that was seeing Hans Conried pretty much in a purple t-shirt and boxers. And he's getting dressed. I mean, everything's covered. It's completely modest. And then he's like, dress me. And I'm like, oh, okay. Totally not thinking dirty thoughts right now. I'm not. No. Yes. Okay. And mind you, this is a really old movie. And in case you don't know who Hans Conried is, he played Captain Hook in Disney's Peter Pan, and Mr. Darling, and that was the prime of his life. He was also a model for Disney. So when the animators would make the sketches, and this was during the time when Disney was still alive, he would pose for them. And these were, it was a little bit unusual, I'd have to say, but Captain Hook was actually based on his movements, and it was made for him. And so he would act them out. He would act all of the scenes out, and they would know what to draw. So it was very much, that character was very much a part of him. He had acted it out, and when he went to the studio, it must have been very fresh for him. And they say that King Stefan in Beauty and the Beast was actually, if you look at the character, It was based, it was meant to look like him. And this is one of the greatest Disney mysteries. They don't, somebody else played that part. They played that role. They got the voice. We don't know why. That is a great mystery. Nobody knows. Possibly nobody is alive that knows. They're probably all dead. And if they're alive, they're probably not at liberty to say, because they either are in retirement, they either don't remember, or, I mean, seriously. Like, but the woman that plays Aurora in Sleeping Beauty is actually still alive. She is still alive. She is the oldest Disney princess that is alive at this time. I don't think there's anybody else that's left that's alive. So that is a great feat. She's no longer doing the voices. She did do the voices for a long time, but she's in her 80s. She's in her 80s right now, so she can't really come to the phone right now. She couldn't be in Wreck-It Ralph, obviously. Wreck-It Ralph, Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet. She wasn't able to be in that, which, is disappointing, but, give her a break. She's old. She's been through a lot, okay? Be fragile to her. She's an old woman. Be nice to her. So, yes, there's a lot of that. And, so Hans Conried, that particular character was based on him. However, it's unspecified, but if you hear the announcer that says, "The Royal," that is Hans Conried. However, nobody really confirms it. It's not really, it sounds like him. It probably is him, because, yeah, it probably was him. And if you're wondering his nationality, he was Austrian, I believe. He was Austrian. His mother was, had some pilgrim heritage. He was born in, pretty much in, I do believe it was Maryland. I do believe it was Maryland. And he was American, okay, as probably as American as they come. And, but he was typecasted a lot. He was typecasted as, like, the foreigner, and he had to wear, nose pieces in it got to be kind of ridiculous. Like, he was always in a lot of the movies, he was really tall, not exceptionally tall, but 6'2", he was tallish. And he just was kind of broody looking, and talking about tall, dark, and handsome. And I noticed that some people on YouTube that were watching the Dress Me song, and they said, like, yeah, he's really good, but he's more of a voice actor than he is a singer. And I was like, he sings really well. I can tell you that in this particular song, the house, Dr. T and the 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T, which is a Dr. Seuss inspired story. I actually bought the movie. He was actually louder. There were two professionals. There was a professional singer. There was this couple, and one played his girlfriend, Hans Conried's girlfriend, and the other he looked like a freaking plumber. But the two of them were were a singing duo. They were performers. And they were professionals. And he was singing over them. It was like Get Together Weather. They have a charming song called Get Together Weather, which is, this is the same movie that, that other song, the Dress Me song, was from. And I'm not going to go into what this movie is about. You're going to have to do your research on it. It is about things that I doubt if I can even say on here. So, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble for it. So, it's not what you think about. It's not about the 1950s propaganda. I know that, which a lot of people thought it was. It's not. It's about something even darker than that. But Hans Conried is, it's interesting. He was Austrian. His father was Jewish, and that was not really necessary to tell you, but okay. But people were like, yeah, he's not really a singer. I was like, he's not a singer. He was in the Phantom Toll Booth. He was singing quite well. You've not heard him? He could out-sing Danny Kaye. Okay. He did Tongue Twisters. I think if you can frickin' sing, there's a skill. There's a kind of skill which, where you can sing really fast. And that is, it's hard. It's hard. A lot of people could do it. I know, but it takes practice, because you're literally, what you're doing is you're pushing words out very, very quickly, and you're having to do them. And this takes practice. It's something, it's like, I am the image of a very modern general. It's a very fast little thing. And that's what Hans Conried could do. He could do those things. And if he can talk that fast, if he can sing that fast, I think he can sing just fine, you guys. Do your research. Okay? Don't go over there and say, oh, I don't think they can sing. Voice actors can sing. They just have to sing within that character, which means they have to sing off key, and that's just what the character demands. The character demands that kind of thing, and if you've created a character, you have to be true to that character. You know the boundaries of that character. You know what does work and what doesn't, and voice actors can do that. And I do recommend watching The House, the 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T, because it's interesting. It's an interesting movie. It's very, very interesting, and it's very bizarre. It's like a bad acid trip, but I love it. I adore it, because it is Hans Conried. Unfortunately, it was a real flop. And Hans Conried is a real asshole. Like, he is pretty much pure evil. He's a cult leader. Yeah, he's like a dictator. And you know about dictators? Yeah. So, just to let you know what this is about, and I'm gonna go on a limb, okay, here. So, Ted Geisel, Dr. Seuss, was Jewish, okay? And he was really into reminding people of what happened to Jewish individuals. So that's what the movie is about. I'm not going to say the word. You know what it is. Yeah, it's where, they were taken to the camps and wiped off the face of the earth. And he wanted people to remember that, because it was such an atrocity. And that's what the movie was about. And I'm getting emotional. I don't understand how we can be so angry, how people can be so angry so angry to the point that they're willing to just wipe them out. And I really do believe that we need to know the dark history, because it happened, you guys. We can't deny it. And as I said, I'm being respectful. I don't want to throw this in people's faces. But I do believe that we are all equal, and there's nobody that is better than the other. There's no pure race. There is just humankind, and a human is a human, and we should all treat people in that way. But the if you look for the hints that you can see in the movie, you see the barbed wire, you see the electric fence, you see the cells and the things like that within the 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T, and you just know what it's about. You know what it's about, and there's just like no denying it. And then there are these instruments, and some of the instruments are banned, and only these instruments are allowed, which, believe it or not, there were Jews that were actually spared because they played a certain instrument. And those that didn't they're not around. So I think it's really worth seeing. It's entertaining. It's not exactly something I would want to put to music. When you think about that, you're like, oh gee, it's like Texas Chainsaw the musical. It's like, yes, let's make a musical. Or Dahmer the musical. It's like, no. we made the mistake of making it a TV show. We don't need it to be a musical, okay? We don't need to. But it's an interesting movie. I do believe that it needs to be watched, it needs to be seen, it needs to be observed carefully. It needs to be watched at least more than once, because it has a lot of hidden meanings about our history and about how far hatred can go. It really does. And I do believe that. And it was horrible because Dr. Seuss or Ted Geisel really wanted to show darkness or evil as it was. He wanted to demonstrate it as it was. He wanted everyone to see it for hatred in all its ugliness, evil in all of its hideousness. He wanted everyone to see that. But the writers and the producers were like, no, we can't do this. They'll be children. And he's like, no, this is not a Disney movie. This is not a children's movie. It may be set to music, but it's not necessarily for children. But, it was the 50s. They were all conservative. They're like, no violence. And he's like, he's sitting there and he's like, well, there's this point where there's these two guys on rollerblades and they have a beard, and the guy gets the beard and strangles both of them. And they're just looking at him. They're like, are you crazy? We can't put that on screen. Why not? Why? We can't. And that was an actual that was a scene that wasn't in the movie, by the way. There was a more humane way of doing it. So they censored it so much, and we are killed by censorships, okay? Censorship killed comedy sometimes. It destroyed. Censors are not what they used to be now. They're a lot better. But back then, censors were a bitch, because you had to, if something wasn't, it wasn't child friendly, or it wasn't family friendly, or it wasn't, so those things, things had to be left to your imagination. You couldn't put violence or blood or gore or those kind of things in there, even though it was completely fake. They just didn't want to do that. Because think of the children. I was like, well, and he had made videos. He actually made a short. He got an award. Dr. Seuss or Ted Geisel got an award for making a video about this same subject, about the hatred that was towards the Jews. And he was Jewish, and he wanted people to know about that. And there is a museum, and his art is in that museum in New York. It is a very harrowing experience from what I heard. What you do is, when you go there, you pick a person that you want to follow, like a girl, and you see at the end of it, you get to see if that person made it or not. That the Jewish individual that you've chosen, and by the end of it, you figure out what happened to them. And it's usually not a very pretty story because we know what happened to them. And yeah, it's a museum. If you see Freedom Riders, you'll hear about that. I'm not gonna have to say it. I don't need to say it because I know you're not supposed to say certain things on here. So I am just saying that I love, that's why I'm not angry towards people. That's why I don't hold anger against anybody that is different than I am. Because so much damage has been done because of hatred and anger. So much damage has been done to people who just stood out, who thought outside the box. People, that's what the Salem witch trials were about. Did you know that? That's what it was about. People's inability to accept the differences of others. None of them were witches. Do you know only one person was actually burned on the stake in all of Salem? Most of the time, and from what I've heard, this is from people I haven't done like a bunch of research on it, but I had a teacher of mine who was doing research on the Salem witch trials, and he said that none of them were witches. None of them were. They just, there was one woman that she was disabled and she couldn't walk to church. There was, it was either because they were grumpy or they just were a little bit offbeat. Something was different about them, or it's just the fact that they had land. Most of the time it was land. There was land that was involved. They wanted their land. And what do you do when you want their land? Witch! Exactly. So if you've had a relative that was involved with the Salem witch trials, they weren't a witch. They were not a witch. They probably were not even involved with any sort of witchcraft. And believe it or not, witchcraft isn't all bad. I don't practice it. But those that do are actually really nice. I used to think when I saw a pentagram, I'd be like, Satan, get behind me. But, the other day, I just and not too long ago, I saw this woman. She got short hair, and she had nose piercings, and she had tattoos, and then she had a pentagram hanging from her neck as a necklace. And I shook her hand, and she was so warm and friendly and so nice. And she said, "Hi, how are you?" And I was like, "I'm doing good," And it was wonderful. I loved her energy, and I almost wanted to be her, I was like, this is the kind of person I want to be my friend. And the thing is, witches don't really actually put on curses on people. They don't put curses on people. They actually, that connotation of, curse the moon or whatever, or curse somebody, they don't curse people, okay? That's not a thing. Most of them burn incense, and they say a few prayers to their chosen gods, and some of them believe that God is in nature. There are all sorts of all sorts of that. But as I said, we all get really scared by that because we don't understand it. We don't understand it. And that's why a lot of Christians get scared. They're like, paganism. We can, It was like, it's fine. They're not going to hurt you, okay? The Illuminati is not after you. The Masons are not out to get you. The Knights Templar, you don't have to worry about, okay? And witches don't ride brooms, okay? They don't. They're just normal people. They're just normal people. And a human being is a human being. They all crave human connection. And if you stop seeing them stop seeing people for what they believe and what they're doing or who they're living with. Because you can't just go up to someone and say, oh, like, how many people do you go up to? And address them as who they are or what they're doing. Like, am I going to come into it? I'm going to say, hey, I'm Kelsey. I'm stressed out and sometimes depressed. And I've never been to college. Okay. All right. Are you going to go up to someone and are you going to say to them, are you going to say, hey, how are you? Like, are you still whoring yourself out there online? When that person has an OnlyFans account? Tell me that you probably have that situation where you thought when someone was on OnlyFans, you thought that they were a whore. Yeah. That's judgmental. Now, there's certain things that we judge that aren't remotely bad. Like for instance, you might see somebody drive up and say, hey, get in my car. And you're like, ew, no. And then you keep walking. You know what I mean? You don't get that. There's that judgment. You're judging that. But then there's like the judgment that like, oh my goodness, like that person is like so, ew, they're like so big and I bet they eat Twinkies all day or something. That's just stupid, you know? You can't assume that someone does that. You don't go to their home, you know? And yeah, you're thinking to yourself because, and it's just narrow-mindedness. It's just like, how dare you go around and look at somebody that's heavy and see them put one box of ding dongs into their cart and think that's why they're fat. Can I remind you that your weight is only one aspect of your health? There's so much that goes on that you don't see, and believe it or not, people have actual conditions. This is a thing. This is a thing. This is just show how fat phobic I am not. How I am not fat phobic. Okay? Been body shamed most of my life. So the thing is, there's something that's called GERD. GERD. GERD is literally your stomach health. It's your gut health. It's what's in your stomach and your gut. Now, if your gut or your stomach juices are not balanced, your brain will crave certain things. This is something this is coming into studies. We're finding out that we are not really in control of our eating habits. Our stomach and our gut is. Which means If your stomach is not balanced, the acids and everything, the chemicals, the bacteria that's supposed to be in there, and it's not balanced, it's not doing what it's supposed to do, you're going to think, your brain's going to say, Twinkies, junk food, ice cream sandwiches, it's going to go. But, and your mental health has to do a lot with your eating habits as well. Who you're around affects how you eat as well. I'm not saying that it's other people's fault, but sometimes we have no control over our eating habits. And if you think that it's that easy, if you think for a moment, like, why don't you try to eat healthier? Okay. Frickin' okay, Karen. But believe it or not, some of us don't have any control over our eating habits because we don't understand how our stomach and our gut feels. So a lot of us are going through life, we get stressed, we eat. Our ex comes up, we eat. Someone dies, we eat. And it doesn't help that the fact that the junk food out there is actually a lot cheaper than the actual organic. So that doesn't help at all either. So we're like, okay, well, what can we? Yeah. So we get you're bashing people for those that have a weight problem. It's mental, and we don't even understand our brains. We don't understand how our body fully functions. So, and there are millions of disorders and not just neurological, but physical ailments, physical medical diagnosis that can lead to you gaining weight, not to mention medications. And some of us don't have a choice. It's not like we have a choice. Do you think people out there, people are like, why don't you eat salad? I'm sorry. Salad doesn't have any fucking nutrition unless you put it with other things. That's why people add frickin' bacon to it. Because you can't just eat on lettuce. You can't eat lettuce. Lettuce has no frickin' nutrition. An apple has no really, I mean, it's really good for your blood sugars, but you need other things to balance it out. And I'm sorry, you cannot look at someone's health with your eyes. Why else would they be having frickin' x-rays? And MRIs and CAT scans and PET scans. Why do you think they would be doing that? Because they can just look at a person and go, oh, yeah, you're healthy. That's so hilarious. It's so funny that people think that. And then they have the audacity to say, why don't you try to do something to lose weight? You don't fucking know if they lost weight 5 minutes ago. Do you know if they lost 500 pounds? Do you know if they lost 100? Do you know if they lost anything? Do you even know their diets? Do you go to their doctors with them? If you're not concerned for their health, and if you're not concerned for their health and you don't know them and you're not a part of their constant life, you don't have any right to say what they need to do. You don't pay their bills. You don't pay their medical bills either. You are not their doctor. You are not that person's husband, wife, mother, father. You aren't any of those things. And unless you are, you have no right to speak of it. I have no right to speak of it either, because I don't know. So what I do is I choose to see someone as a human being. I choose not to see somebody popular or somebody who's this size or somebody who's that size or somebody. Yes, of course. I do. I'm very visual. I will see somebody, and if I like, definitely when I see somebody, I will come to some sort of judgment to whether or not I like them. But not to the point where I am making assumptions of who they are as a person. And that sounds aggressive, but I'm just going to say this. This is just me being assertive. And it's not anger towards you at all. It's just like, I think we need to stop judging people for the way that they look, because we are so much more than what you see here. We're so much more than that, because I have been misjudged a lot. People, I have gone on Instagram, I've gone on every live thing, and people just assume that I am some sort of slut. Like, I'm sorry. Is it the fact that I'm not even showing my whole body? What makes you think if I was a slut? Oh, there are places I can go for that, okay? If I want attention from men, I'll go somewhere where they will give me attention. There are places for that. And I have no judgment against women who do that, okay? I don't have any judgment against people who make money on OnlyFans, or people who make money on Playboy, or they're porn stars. That's just a job. That's not who they are. That's a job. That's something that they do. And at the end of the day, they have families. They have things that they need to do. And unfortunately, we demonize a lot of these people. We demonize them, and we think that they are like less of a human being. I'm going to tell you, people, street workers and prostitutes are not any less than we are. They were in a situation, perhaps, that was not, they were in a bad situation, perhaps. Maybe they chose that life. Either way, it's really not any of our business. It's really not our business to tell them that what they're doing is wrong, because that is their life, that is their job, that is not who they are. We are so much more than our bodies. We're so much more than we look. We are so much more than we sound like. We have minds, hearts, and souls. And if you can't see that, you're really missing out, because all you are seeing is, you're seeing very simplified things. Slut, fat, selfish, lazy. You see those things? See those things? You need to stop using those words, because first of all, they're just very simple words and they don't really describe a person. And it is getting dark. I don't know why it is getting dark. Yes, I don't know. I don't know why it's getting dark. Okay. Yes. Might be right. Okay. Sorry, the sun. It goes down. And it makes the room dark. It makes the room very, very dark. So I'm going to go anyway. And I hope you have a beautiful, blessed day. And it has been fantastic talking with you all about books and movies and all of these things. And I'm so glad that I was here, and I'm so glad that you were here as well. And I love you all. I truly do. But it is time to say goodbye. Until next time, I shall be on Monday, here on Monday, and I shall be gaming and doing more motivational and inspirational talks, and me just talking about random things.